So, Namaskar and good morning. Uh, Today is the last session of this uh, program, and what we are going to cover today is basically the remaining of the few prompt patterns, out of which basically the one pattern, the structure patterns, basically we will look into that. Other two patterns we will definitely discuss those, but those are mostly those patterns which are applicable only when you are building an application, and of course you can implement them with you implement them within the application. But you can also, it's not that you cannot do that in the chat interface, using the chat interface you can do that, but they are not that effective when you use it within the chat interface. They are mostly used when you are using them within the application, using the APIs, basically when you build the application using the APIs. But yeah, definitely we will discuss them also. And then we will basically look into the applicability of generative AI within the entire pursuit life cycle. Within the pursuit life cycle, how do we basically identify uh, which areas where you can apply these different types of prompt patterns, or how you can apply generative AI. And the prompt patterns will definitely come at a later stage, but first you have to identify which are the possible use cases, and that is going to actually help you in your final assignment also, which is already been assigned to you. So include doing that, that would be helpful. I'll try to show you the practice, the methodology which I generally follow when I work with my clients in implementing generative AI within their strategic processes and pursuit processes, as well as in other multiple other processes also. Generally across across the business, how do you implement generative AI? So that will give you an over idea. You don't need to go deep into that, but knowing that will help you. Knowing that will help you that, okay, if you are proposing generative AI or generative AI based solutions to your customer, then possibly how do you approach it? How do you approach it? Because most of the cases, what happens is that the clients themselves are not very understand. They do not have a very clear understanding of how generative AI can help them. They know that generative AI will help them, or generative AI can help them save costs, increase their efficiencies, productivity or efficiency, but they do not know exactly how to go about it. So basically, how do you start with it? How do you build that? How do you prioritize them? How do you identify the use cases? How do you prioritize them? Because you have to also show them that the value, what you are doing is creating value for them. Okay, and also, of course, you also need to know how do you measure the value. What is the ROI of generative AI? This typically is used when you are actually a generative AI solution architect or a generative AI consultant or a solution architect. But even when you are writing a proposal related to generative AI, and these days most of the companies they ask for a generative, or most of the companies have a mandate, in fact, that there has to be a generative AI component in our proposal. That how we will leverage generative AI. So this will help you in basically getting a overall view of that. Okay, so we will go ahead with that. But before that, any thoughts, any questions related to the prompts which we discussed yesterday? Because those prompts are, well, little different from the standard way of how we were writing the other prompts, like TOCD or RTO or something like that, chain of thought prompting, tree of thought prompt, because those are more reasoning prompts. Okay, the other prompts were mostly content generation or execution, task execution prompts. But these are also content generation and task. They also do task generation. Yeah, sorry, task execution or content generation, but they are based on based on a reasoning. Okay, so anyone, any thoughts? Okay, let's move ahead. So what we will today discuss is basically some of the complex prompt patterns. But before that, let me give you an understanding of what exactly and why exactly we need to do this prompt patterns. And also I will share with you some thoughts about context engineering, which is basically evolving as a next standard of prompt engineering. So from prompt engineering, we are moving into context engineering, specifically when we are using agentic AI frameworks. Context engineering is very much applicable within the is generally applicable within the within the agentic AI, within the agentic AI frameworks, platforms, uh, tools. But that is when you are building AI agents to do things. But then again, having an understanding of context engineering also helps you in your prompt engineering, and to some extent, you can implement context engineering concepts within prompt engineering. Uh, so to start with, we will basically first start with the system prompts. Now, whatever we have been doing till now, mostly we have been using a combination of both system prompt and user prompts. But our focus has been more on the user prompts, okay, where we are focusing on what we want the LLM to do, and how we want the LLM to execute the user query which we are writing, the prompt which we are writing, and give us the results or the inferences uh, as as much as in context of what we want. Okay, so giving us more accurate, more trustable content for us. Okay, and of course in a format we expect it to be. Okay, so that is basically what we have been focusing on till now. But actually, when you look at a prompt, there are two sections in a prompt. You can say that there are two sections or two parts of a prompt. The first part of the prompt is basically what we call is the system prompt. Okay, the job or the responsibility or whatever what we want to do through the system prompt is basically set the behavior of the LLM. See, the LLM has been trained on massive data sets for different types of purposes. Data belonging to different types: marketing, finance, HR, innovation. You think of it, whatever category is, whatever information or whatever type of information is available on the internet or through different sources, the LLM has been trained on that. But when we want something specific for our purpose, we have to tell the LLM that, listen, we want you to do this task, or give me the content, or generate the content for me, or execute this content for me in this particular context, in particular context of a role, in context of a industry, in context of a business scenario, in context of a even a task. So giving that direction to LLM helps the LLM to focus on that. Instead of going all wide, it starts narrowing down and focus, so that the content which it generates, that is more accurate, more aligned to what you want, what the user query is all about. Okay, that is what we do by giving the system prompt. In fact, when we say, imagine you are a bid manager, actually we are giving a system prompt to the LLM. That is what we are telling is that whatever conversation we are having now hereafter, in all those conversations, you will behave like a bid manager. Behave like a bid manager means you will use all the content, or the content which you use to the training data which you use, not the content, but the training data which you use to generate this content to in response to my query, should be related to bid management. Should be related to bid management. This is basically you are setting the role. At the same time, you can also set the boundaries. Boundaries in the sense that, see, the way we tell the through a prompt, we tell the what task the LLM has to execute, or what task we want to get executed, or whatever our user query is, the same way we can also tell the LLM what not to do. Because when you tell the LLM what not to do, you are actually putting the guardrails. And when you put the guardrails, what happens? You are more your content which is getting generated is more deterministic, is more determined. It is basically more accurate. Okay, so basically you should not spread over, rather you should be focused. And those focused guardrails you can always implement by saying giving the instructions to the LLM on what not to do. What to do, you have already telling it to through your query and your task, your query or your prompt. But within the prompt, you can also tell the LLM that what not to do. They are like setting the boundaries and the guards. Like a very very simple example is that you will write in the content only within 300 words. You will write the content using only plain English. You will write the content only using a professional tone. You will not use any marketing or sales language or metaphors or rhetorics. So one way you are telling what to do, and the other way you are on the other side also you are telling what not to do. Okay, these are basically setting the boundaries. One way you are setting the boundary, 300 words. Other way you are setting the constraint, no marketing lingo. So these are the jobs which you are telling the system to follow, and that is why we call them as the system prompts. Okay. Now you can, when you set the system prompts, you can set the system prompt for a conversation. That is, when you are starting the chat, you can set the system prompt that in this conversation you will follow these guidelines. Okay. But if you want to set the guidelines for every conversation, you can actually do it at a settings level. At the setting level, you can change the system prompt, and after that, whatever conversations you have, the LLM will follow those guidelines which you have provided to it in the settings. Okay, so that is actually a way of contextualization. Now, coming to contextualization, let me explain you what context engineering is all about. See, the behavior of the LLM has been trained on massive data. So there is a chance, and of that, there is a lot of misinformation. There is a lot of what we call information which we may not like to use within our content. Okay, there will be a lot of biased information. Okay, so how do you restrict those? Okay, how do you restrict those? That you can restrict only by adding these sort of guardrails. Okay, the LLMs internally, they have their own internal guardrails. Okay, if you ask LLM that how do I create a atom bomb or any sort of explosive or anything which is harmful, LLM will stop you right there itself. Okay, if you give it give it anything which it feels that is not socially responsible, it will stop it. It will not do it. It is a inbuilt guardrail within the LLMs. Okay, the LLMs, they have the transformer, the models which they have a layer in which they basically restrict these sort of instructions. But then there are other ways of actually what we call as the jailbreaking. There are other ways of breaking them. Those, like in hacking, you have so many of your protection layers, but still hackers find out some gaps, find out some weak points in the layers, in those protection layers, and they are able to hack it. Similarly, in prompt also there are different ways of hacking the prompt, and it's actually a very growing area also of prompt hacking, like a prompt hacking, prompt poisoning, or content poisoning. These are things which are happening in the other side, on the darker side of the prompt engineering. So what context engineering does is, or the concept of context engineering is that that to get the best results or the best outcomes from the LLMs, you need to provide it the best context. Only when your context is the right, and the quality of your context determines the quality of your outcome, of the output the LLM generate. Now, how do you do that? That area is known as context engineering. We try to do some level of context engineering within our prompts also, by giving it examples, by setting boundaries, by giving it the system prompts. So system prompts is one way of implementing context engineering. But again, as I said, in the interactive mode, basically when you are using the chat interface of the LLM, this is very limited. But when you go, when you use the agentic frameworks, basically when you build your application, when you use the agentic frameworks, there you can implement context engineering in a very larger, you can have a larger implementation of the context engineering methods and the approach methodologies, or basically the methods. Okay, there are different methods of implementing context engineering. Okay, so this is basically more or less what is the system prompt, and the next is basically what is the user prompt. This is basically what we are doing, what we are giving, what the task, what we are giving, the dynamic instruction which is changing every time. System instruction does not change. Okay, once you give it, then you keep it for till the time for that conversation, you give that, you keep that instruction. Okay, and you can also do it at a setting level. That means for all the conversation, the same system level prompts will be followed. Okay, is this clear? What is the difference between a system prompt and a user prompt?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now let's move to the next. So let us now look at this structure patterns. Okay, structure patterns, basically two patterns are very interesting and very useful. One is the prompt composite and another is the prompt chaining. Okay, prompt composite is basically where you take a larger task or a bigger or a complex task, and you break it down into smaller, more manageable components. Okay, now in chain of thought, what we are doing was, you are giving the task the execution, you are breaking down the execution steps, okay, in a step-by-step manner. Here what you are doing is, in a prompt composite, what you do is you break down the task into subtasks, and then within the subtasks you can break it down into steps and sub-steps. Okay, because the more you break down, the more the finer tuning you can do. Okay, then you can know, okay, what can I, where I can change, what parameters can I change, what instructions can I change, so that I get the result which is aligned to what I want. Okay, so in a prompt composite, you can break down a complex task or a request into manageable subcomponents, but at the same time maintain the coherence. That means that there is a flow, there is a you can look, nothing should look out of the place, everything there should be a reason, and that should be in a sequence of steps. Okay, so that is basically how you write the how you use the prompt composite pattern. Okay, prompt chaining is using multiple prompts where each output of each prompt becomes the input of the other prompt. It is like a workflow. So when you have multiple tasks to accomplish a particular activity, say you are doing an activity. So what is activity? What do we do? We have got multiple tasks. Now for each task there is a prompt, but that, and those prompts can happen in those tasks can happen either in sequence, or they can happen in parallel, or they can happen independently also. Okay. When the tasks are happening in a sequence, it can be a linear sequence, it can be a parallel sequence. When they're happening in a sequence, whether it is linear or parallel, and the output of one prompt becomes the input of the next prompt, there you use the prompt chaining pattern. Okay. Mind mapping pattern is basically, it's more like exploratory, where you use visual thinking to organize the complex topics into one single theme. You want to find out what is the core theme, and then it is like mind. Generally, when we do mind map, when do we do mind mapping? That we know that, okay, there are so many different things, and they are somewhere or the other related, but we want to categorize them or classify them and organize them in a manner so that we can see their holistic picture. Okay, so what we do is that we create a central theme, and then when the central theme we create sub themes, and then from each sub theme we can have sub themes, or basically tasks or activities or scenarios. We do it that way, like that. Similarly, here also we can take a content and convert it, find what is the central theme in it, then organize the complex topics around the themes. Then for each topic we can find out the subtopics and the tasks and subtasks in that. Okay, imagine this like a table of content of a proposal. Now, the proposal is one entity, but within that proposal, there are so many sections, so many subsections. Each section has got some paragraphs, okay, some questions. So, how is it organized? Creating a visual map of it basically is what we call, how we use the mind mapping techniques. Okay. So, this is the overview of the structure patterns. Details of it we have it's all there in this. So, it's a simple, when you see the examples, it will get clear. Okay, so the prompt chatting and the mind mapping pattern. The next basically, okay, we will get into that. Before, let me show you the demo of these prompts. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, this is what we have already done. Prompt composite pattern. Okay. So we saw the cognitive verifier yesterday, like using the LLM itself to ask questions. Okay. So basically, what we are going to do here is basically first we are going to set a system prompt. I'll show you both the system prompt at a conversation level, the system prompt at a setup level. Okay, how do you do that? Okay. So what we are doing is that we are trying to write an executive summary targeted for the CXO level decision maker. So basically, now when I write a executive summary for a CXO level, I want to follow certain guidelines. I want to follow certain style guides. Okay, so I am saying that, okay, you are a expert business consultant for an executive communication specialist with deep expertise in creating compelling. See, your role is to transform key proposal facts into concise strategic executive summaries that enable rapid and informed decision making. Here you can also mention the type of language you want to use. You will use a professional tone. Maybe you can write it. You will use a professional tone in plain English. You will restrict using sales and marketing metaphors and rhetorics. You will avoid using technical okay. So let me do. So, and also I'm giving it here some of the other capabilities. You're basically, your core capabilities are to distinct proposals into clear actionable items, highly critical business impact. These are the areas where you want to focus. You want to structure the information for executive cognitive patterns. What are the executive cognitive patterns? Is basically executives do not read, they skim. They look at only words and highlights which are interesting for them, and then only they go bitter. And that is because of their time constraints. Okay, translate technical details into strategic business language. Present financial implications with so wherever you are presenting a financial implication, you will present it with the appropriate context and benchmarks. Maximum 2 pages. These are the constraints which you are leading. Lead with the most critical point. Structure requirement, strategic requirement, 1 to 2 sentences stating the core ask. So you are giving the instructions beforehand. Okay, you are not so that every time when you use this prompt, you don't have to tell this. Okay, so basically, let me take this. Mhm. Okay, now I'm giving the system. I'm starting a new conversation by itself, and I'm giving the system prompt here. So it says that understood. Please share the key facts of the proposal. Oh. Okay, now it is asking me to provide the proposal details such as opportunity context and everything. So now I will give it the user prompt. Okay, so I am saying that I need an executive summary for AI powered proposal management. I'm giving the context within the prompt itself. For clients, and the client is a mid-size this, I'm giving all the details here. Key risks, these are the key risks. I'm also giving the context that they are evaluating 2 other vendors, but ours offers the strongest industry specific AI training and the only solution achievable 30% win rates in professional service. Okay, so I'm giving it the user prompt here. So instead of giving all the proposal content, I have included the proposal the content or the context within the prompt itself. So now I give it the prompt. Now let me see how it creates the executive summary. So now you see it is creating the executive summary here. It says executive summary powered. This is prepared for the CEO and the CEO. And what is the strategic recommendation? It is giving upfront the strategic recommendation, and then it is giving the business impact. It is giving a investment required. It is giving the key risk and mitigation. What are the decision options? It is giving a decision. Now, if you advise it, it is asking for if please advise if your additional operational and financial model is relevant to the final evaluation. I will say include operational model in operational model present the target operating model, which we call as a TOM. Target operating model is basically what we are trying to achieve. Okay, that once we have this, so this is the future state of proposal function designed on speed and quality, the functional effort for process. So basically this the target operating model helps the decision makers to understand that what exactly they are going to get and then take a decision based on that. So you can see here it has given effort per proposal 200 hours manual, current state, target state is that 60 hours a day. Okay, team involvement, broad, unstructured, SME focused input via reusable. So it has given even the model of what you can expect out of after the implementation, because that is the purpose of the executive summary. The executive summary's purpose is to tell the decision maker what he needs to know to take the decision in your favor. So this is exactly how it generates that. Okay, it a decision required by, so whatever you can use it, but you can definitely use this content and generate your executive summary. Like typically our executive summaries, most of the companies, the executive summaries, what do they start with it? They may start with, we understand your problem, we have done this, we have done that. This executive summary, what you are writing here, is straight, just sharp enough to help the executive summary, because we have told them that was when we wrote the system prompt, we told it very clearly that you have to be focused, sharp, look into the time constraints of the executives, that because they are not going to read it, they are only going to they're going to only skim it. So give them all the information which they need. But of course, you can tailor it as you want. Okay. My executive summaries, I always write my executive summaries exactly in this way. Point by point, one by one, one by one, one by one. I don't want to tell them who I am, what I am. I tell them, okay, this is what you want. This is, I understand what you want. This is what you are going to get, and this is what you need to invest. That's it. Simple. Because the more content you provide in your executive summary, the more chances of getting questioned, getting rather be absolutely straight, honest and straight in your executive summary. That builds better relationship, that builds in better credibility with your clients. Any questions, anyone? Did you understand what system prompting is? How to differentiate between a system prompt and a user prompt? And I will show you something different. And now next, I will show you something different. But is this clear? Like how within a conversation, how can you first give a system prompt? And now I can now I have given it a system prompt, right? So now I can give it another user prompt. I want you to write an executive summary for the implementation of an ERP solution for a mid-segment manufacturing business. Okay, and I'm not giving it anything else. Now you see, it will still follow the system prompt guidelines. See, it is giving the strategic impact, it is giving the business impact, it is giving the investment required, the target operating model, the key risk and mitigation, the decision options. So basically, I have set that as a system prompt. So now I don't need to give it again and again. Okay. Now this is again something what you were asking. Who was asking this yesterday, that if because of the different writers, they write in different tones and different styles. How do you basically bring them consistent, or even the content which you're getting? I think Samir was asking this, like how when you're getting proposals from different OEMs and different content from different sections, how do you build it? So basically, what you can do is that you can create your own style guide for the content. Like every organization has got its own style guide, and generally you should create a style guide for a customer when you're writing on, specifically when you're writing for a big proposal or a mass proposal. You should create a style guide which aligns with their style of communication. Okay, style guide is nothing but a communication guide. So you can create a style guide exactly replicating their communication style, and you can pick their communication style from different sources. Any white paper they have published, any their website. Their website is one of the best. Any blogs their company has written, articles they have written. So you can what sort of communication style they use. You can use those communication style, copy them, or basically create a style guide based on those communication styles, and use that style guide to basically edit all the content, and that style guide you can put as a part of your as a system prompt. So every content what you are generating will be actually in following that particular style tone, structure, everything like that. Is it clear how you can use this?
Yes.
One question here.
Hmm.
So I ran into one problem. So yesterday I was trying out prompts, and so I opened the ChatGPT window. I wrote some prompts, and it was working well. And then I noticed that after a while, like you said, that maybe it was running out of tokens or the context window was getting smaller. So the results, the output that it was giving was not that satisfactory. So I then started a new chat. So the problem was then when I start a new chat, it does not have the context of the earlier conversation, even though
Yes.
memory settings were turned on, and it lied to me. I asked, do you remember our last conversation? It said yes, but it did not. So like, how do we deal with that? Because yeah.
Good. That is exactly where context engineering is coming into place. Okay, so you have to know what is that context which is necessary for the LLM to know even before they start generating the response for you. Okay, and at least that context, that specific context, you should carry forward. Yeah. See, I will tell you. Imagine the context window of the LLM like a conveyor belt. Okay, everybody, I hope everybody has seen a conveyor belt, right? A conveyor belt moves, and there are things like a conveyor belt in the airport baggage. Your airport baggage, like every baggage is put on the conveyor belt. Okay, but where you are standing, you can see only the baggage which is there on the conveyor belt. Okay, but something which has gone outside the conveyor belt, or something which has not come on the conveyor belt, you cannot see that baggage. You cannot see that item, right? So the context window is like a conveyor belt, which is actually continuously moving, and your visibility, or the LLM's visibility, is only of the objects which are there on that particular conveyor belt. The thing which has not come up and the thing which has gone down, which has gone to the back or has fallen out or has been taken out, that is not visible to the LLM. So when the LLM works, it works only within that particular context window. Okay. So you have to see that what you want the LLM to consider is actually a part. So that way, what you can do is, Tanishta, is basically look at what is that content the LLM needs to know before it actually executes the prompt. And that part, you can use it as a part of your system prompt. So you create your system prompt. That so before even writing the next task, next user query or the user prompt, give the system prompt and then give the user query. Then you will see that it is working.
Right, understood. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions?
Just one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Nikhil, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So for the context, the system prompt you were talking about, do we need to specifically call it out that this is a system prompt?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah.
Call it out as a specifically that this is a system. It sets it. It is basically you are giving a label to it. Okay.
Right.
So, sir, I also had a question. My name is Rinki. So system prompt, can I like do an exercise like where I put in all the information that I need to, and basically ask the AI to give me what sort of context it's creating using that information, and then I create the system prompt and keep it.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
You can see AI is your best friend. It is not going to judge you. You may ask it the most stupid question. It will still say that, yeah, there is something for you. Okay. Generative AI is your best friend. So experiment with it, do it. And what you asked, okay, yes, it is very much possible. That is okay. And actually, I showed you yesterday, right? Something I said to you, okay, I'm not sure how to do that. Let me go to Perplexity and find out, or let me go to Claude and find out, and then I will use that in the prompt. I think I showed sometime once or twice where basically I will take something and then I will ask LLM, okay, how to do it, and then I will verify it maybe with one or two platforms, and I see that, okay, this is the common one. Then I will ask it, okay, now I will create. I think in prompt creation, I showed something like that. Okay, but anyway, but it is possible. Yeah, you can do that. No issue.
And then the system prompt will work like as if I had just inserted all that information.
Yeah. It does not care whether you have generated it within LLM or you have written it yourself. For it is a context. You are asking me to do this, I will follow it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything?
Abhijit, this is Baba here. Just
Ah.
one quick thing. So, I remember doing this in my in ChatGPT long back. The setting context, and then there were certain profiles which we need to kind of create short bios, and then I gave it an example. But then after, so it started creating. So as soon as I started giving new profiles, right? So the detailed profiles and the CVs, it started creating the short bios. But then when the communication went longer, it tend to kind of miss the structure, the layout.
Yeah. That's why I told you, when the moment it sees that the tokens are, this is closing to the end of the token, it starts misfiring, hallucinations, it will start lying, it will give you all vague answers. The better way is start a new context.
Okay.
Start a new conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what if you want to follow the system, the commands which you want to follow are across all the conversations. Okay. There actually you can do is basically you can go to, it allows you to customize your entire setting or the customize your entire event. Okay. Let me show you that, how to do that. Okay. This is basically what we call a customer. When you go to ChatGPT here, why is this annotate coming here? Okay. Now if you go to here and you go to customize ChatGPT, you click on this profile link and you can customize ChatGPT. You will choose here. Okay. First is what do you do? Okay. Now this is basically you are setting your own persona. Okay. Your own persona. Okay. Now what I am saying here that I am an experienced proposal writer specializing in IT services, and I have given what my persona, how I want ChatGPT to think like the way I am doing it. Okay. So I give my purpose. And then it asks me what traits should ChatGPT have. That means it is asking me that, okay, I am your genie. So tell me, how do you want me to behave? Okay. So I am giving it the instructions, write in clear, concise language using a professional and authoritative tone. Maintain gender neutral language throughout. Avoid superlatives, exaggerated claims, and promotional language. Focus on business outcomes, strategic value, measurable results rather than technical features. Lead with most critical information. That is, most critical information should always come first. That addresses executive priorities, ROI, risk mitigation, competitive. So I have given it how it has to write it. Okay. Then it actually allows me to even define my tones. Okay. I am chatty, I want witty, I want straight shooting, direct, prompt. So you can do that also. Anything else you want to ChatGPT to know what are your interests? So I can even point out here that focus on AI or technology innovations or whatever I want to do. And you can actually create this and save this. Okay. You can save this. Now when you save this, basically it will actually, if I do this, I will have to redo the resetting of it, but I can show you how to do that. But I have to copy this and keep it somewhere because I don't want to change my context. Okay. And this. Or I can, okay, let me do this also. Okay. So that I can go back and paste it. Now let me do one thing is that, what do you do? It is asking me. I say, I am a proposal editor. I am a proposal editor. Okay. Now what traits you should have? So let me go to Zoom and say, I would want you to custom. So yeah, okay. So this okay. Instead of doing that, I will write this. I already have this. What should I ChatGPT know about me? So and I will write this as my. What do you do? So it's the same thing. I think I've not changed it. Okay. So I'll write this here. And I say this. Now, whatever content I write, whatever conversations I have, all my conversations will follow the same style. It is like applying a style guide automatically. So you can actually apply your style guide over there. Okay. You can take your organizational style guide and keep your organizational style guide in as a part of how you write. So then you will see that all the content which ChatGPT is generating is actually following the same style, same tone, same structure. Got it? So when you set it at the system at a conversation level, it is only for that conversation. When you set it at a system level, basically when you go to the ChatGPT settings, you can change it from here. Okay. And in ChatGPT settings, okay, language I can auto detect, theme personalization, I can do some personalization over here. But I can give some personalized custom instructions. I can give some custom instructions, and these are actually the custom instructions. Okay. So you can see here anything, and you can actually, there are some advanced level capabilities. You want to use the web search, code, canvas, advanced voice. So I want to use them, but these are more like functionality settings. This is more of the content like settings. Okay, content writing settings. Okay. So this is how actually you do the user settings, and that is how you can write it. Now let me go to the other prompts and show you the other prompts. Okay, prompt chaining. Okay.
So Dada, 1 minute.
So
if you give the system prompt in a chat, in a conversation, so will the ChatGPT give a priority to that instead of system prompt which is already set up in the customized?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can override. You can override the setting prompt. Setting. That this is the system prompt. I have not tried it, but yes, logically yes. I have not tried it honestly, but yes, good question. I will now try that also. Okay. Yeah, but logically it should, because that it focuses on the conversation. Because I said it is a conveyor. It's like a conveyor belt. जो दिखता है सो बिकता है वैसा टाइप है. Okay. Take prompt chaining. Now this is a interesting prompt, and this is actually, you can use a lot of this. Actually, I have shown this a part of it to you earlier also, but you can use a prompt chaining also. This is basically, you can analyze somebody else's style and use that style, apply that style on your content. Okay. Say suppose, and this is very important when you know who is the evaluator, and maybe the CXO level guy who is a key decision maker, and you know him about by his name or something, and you have some content which he has written. I believe that that's the content which he has written, or the content which you find mostly in his LinkedIn posts or something like that. Okay. From there, you can take his content, analyze his style of writing, style of thinking, capture that and apply that on your content, so that it looks like as if he has written it, or he wants to, he has written it. Okay. Or if you see him liking a specific type, or he mentions that he likes something, or his preferences, you can find out what he likes to read, what type of content he has actually liked on LinkedIn. Okay, rather than his style, what type of content actually he has liked on LinkedIn. If you see that, then you can actually, or even if you see whom he is following on LinkedIn, because most of the people on LinkedIn, they follow somebody. Somebody is following Bill Gates, somebody is following someone or some other, and they follow it because they write their writing style or something like that. So you can actually take that and use that as an influence. Okay. So what I am trying to do here is basically, analyze the writing style based on any content. And for writing style, I am using it like first I am analyzing the content. So I am chaining, how I am chaining it. So I am writing the style, I am doing the style analyst. These are the attributes I am capturing. And then after doing that, I am basically applying that to any other content. Okay, so I can do that by the other content. Okay, so let me try doing that. And what are the attributes I'm looking? Diction, syntax. I think this I have already discussed. Okay. So next what I am going to do is basically I am going to apply that. So I am taking some content, analyzing the content, finding out what are the attributes of that content, storing that attributes of the content, then taking the next content and applying that on the other content. Okay. So I am chaining between these two problems. One is the analysis and then is the implementation. Okay. So I'll take this. Yeah. Now, please provide me the sample text you would like me to analyze. Now, let me go and find out some sample text from LinkedIn or some wherever. In fact, you can give a RFP sample text and understand what. Okay. Now, let me go to LinkedIn. Here, Arvind Ramashankar, whose text should I pick up? Let me, who is a good writer? Say maybe anybody, any name coming in your mind whose writing you want to follow? Some writer, some business writer or some. Okay, let me do one thing. I want to write it like a McKinsey consultant. Okay, let me imagine that. So let me go to McKinsey. Let me search for McKinsey on LinkedIn and pick up one of their articles and use their. I want to write it as like a McKinsey consultant. Okay. Maybe I want to like McKinsey Namrata Lubash, or maybe what are some. Let me take a post from here. And welcome to McKinsey office. Where is, how do I get some McKinsey consultant? Yeah. Come on. McKinsey, let me go to Google and search. Okay, let me go on. What is an EV? Maybe they take this type. Anika. Let me take this content from here. Is it downloadable? Yeah, it is downloadable. Let me download. 11 pages article. Oh, okay, let me sign it. Oh, what do I do?
Sir, I could give you a name.
Yeah, give me a name.
Rajiv Kumar from Feedback Business Insights.
Rajiv Kumar.
JEEV.
Kumar.
Yeah.
Which one you can?
Feedback. It's a business consulting.
Feedback business.
It's not showing.
You can see him.
The third one probably.
Yeah.
But this is not.
The I shared in the chat is the same one in the chat of this meeting.
Yeah, this is the right one.
Yeah. So you can go to the chat of this.
Yeah, this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
Okay, good. Okay, let me go and find out Mr. Rajiv's. Okay. I'll just simply copy this post from here. Oh. And I will post the content, say sample text. Okay. So it has done a writing style analysis, given the tone, given the voice, given the pacing, figurative language, organization structure, point of view, high concern, style guide. It has created a style guide for writing content in this style. Okay. Diction, this. Okay. Now you can use this style guide. You can use this style guide. Style guide, say maybe you can just copy the entire thing here. Copy the entire style guide from here. And I will create a style guide here. Say suppose I create a new style guide here. Okay. And let me save this as Rajiv feedback. No, I am saving it as Rajiv feedback, but I can actually use it as a chain in a prompt chaining. I can simply use this output and say that key following this style guide, use that. But I'm just saving this as a style guide. What I'm going to do is that now I'm going to go to the prompt here and I will say edit the content using the style guide. And then I will give some content. Let me give some other content here. Now this content, let me go to take some content from here and paste it right there. Okay. Say suppose Rajiv had to write this content, how would he have written it? Okay. If you're driving car, this is okay. Get to know this. Okay, and I will also say, and I will say for my information or provide the edits you perform, and I will add the style guide here. Rajiv feedback.
Yeah, the second paragraph, get to know something, we can remove that line actually that is coming from the right box from where you have copied.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now we have done that. Let's see. Do you see the change? See, initial Rajiv's line style is, see Rajiv, how Rajiv writes it. Okay. He writes it very short sentences and breaks it down. Okay. And then see the style here. Starts building up. Okay, so basically he's starting building up here, whereas the McKinsey article was straight reporting, like, okay, if you are driving a car, this the paragraphs. What it did when it edited, it changed it into let us break down. So it is breaking up. That is basically breakdown is it is building up. Like it is first saying that okay, hybrid plug-in extended range vehicles, battery there, and then it is breaking. See how it edited it. Are you seeing the similarity between how it has applied the linguistic attributes of one into the and changed and edited the others using form? So you can basically do that. You can experiment it with different types of writers and different type of content.
So there is a question here.
Yeah.
So earlier, when ChatGPT and these things were not there, whoever used to write blogs, right, as an proactive thing or in pre-sales or bid management, that used to be very appreciable one. But now, taking the style of someone, taking the context of somewhere, I mean, will it be the same value addition? I mean, because people earlier, at least in my organization, the bid manager who used to write blogs, it used to be one of the prime differentiator among the crowd.
See, I don't think that yeah, if you are asking the creativity or the challenging, if see to me everything evolves. Okay, there is nothing. There are only a very few things which are invented or created. It is only a poetry, or maybe it's a poetry or a new piece of music. But again, if you see poetry also as a creative output of a human mind, then even that poetry is influenced by something. A poetry also emancipates itself from something. So everything for to me, actually everything is actually evolution. The point is, what is that evolution doing? If it is helping somebody to understand it, honestly speaking, if you ask me to understand what Shakespeare has written, I may not be able to even read the original Shakespeare Macbeth or Othello and understand what his real emotions are, or what are the real emotions he was trying to present, or what is the real story he is trying to tell. Maybe understand some story, but I will not be able. But if somebody explains me, when I read the Macbeth or Othello explained by somebody else in a more simpler way, in a more plain English, I appreciate Shakespeare's. I appreciate Shakespeare's writing. Okay, but that does not mean that the person who is explaining it is actually stealing Shakespeare's ideas. The original thing still remains Shakespeare's. The person who is explaining me is doing it for, because there are so many people who may not be even understanding what Shakespeare's language. Even Britishers don't understand. And in fact, there was a survey, and it was found out that British English is worse than Indian English. So if you didn't change the content here, what you changed was probably the style. If Rajiv's style is better than somebody else's style, and it is easier for somebody to understand that, what's wrong with it? It is only a point of view. It is only a point of view. The main thing is the purpose. If my purpose is to explain it to somebody and the other person understands it in that purpose, I think I should be happy that I can now reach out to so many more people, and for every that is what exactly personalization is, that I can reach out to so many different people in so many different languages and explain them. That does not mean that if I don't know English, I should not speak English. If I am having a tool, I can speak English and I can communicate to somebody in English. What's wrong with that? If I can speak German, if I don't know German, does not mean that I should not communicate with German. But if I have a tool with which I can communicate to a German, what's wrong with that? There, honestly speaking, there is other than some basic fundamental inventions like electricity, power, everything else is evolving. Everything is coming from something. So there is nothing called original. There is nothing called original. So there is no feeling of guilt. Those are those purists who try to just hold on that this is my thing, I do not let. It may be their concept, but nothing like that. If you dig deep, actually, I should suggest you all to read a very good book like Steal Like an Artist. I think okay. Have you read that? So if you read that, you will know what exactly I am meaning.
Not completely, but even the title of the book is very interesting.
It is by Austin Kleon.
Yeah.
So read that. You can actually you will get to know what exactly, how exactly, and he has shown, like, every writer and everyone who we say that is the original, he has shown where it is coming from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question. It's not related to this. You have something called Writage. How does that appear?
What is called?
The word tool that you have, that you were just.
Oh, okay. Writage basically is a Microsoft Word plugin I use typically for the when I use this markdown languages within other because if you have to use a markdown language in Word, you have to do a lot of settings and changes in that. So I don't want to make those changes every time. So I use that Writage as a plugin and I paste the content. So in whichever tool I use, what happens is that many tools use different types of markdown languages. Okay, so I use content from different sources and then I bring it to Word and I create the Word document or something. So to build that uniformity, I use that. Writage is nothing but a markdown plugin. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Any questions? Okay. So that completes the prompt patterns which we had discussed. The structural prompt patterns. Mind tools is again very simple. You just a straightforward prompt. Okay. Now let's take a break for 5 minutes and then come back, and then we will discuss the AI in pursuit management, and of course your final assessment, how we'll go about it. Okay. So.
Okay.
So when we ask the buyers, the top level guys in the buying cycle, the CIOs and the CTOs and the COOs, and even to the bottom levels, they said the sales guys are always pushing things at us. No sales guy has got, and when we start talking about our business, they say, okay, let me get in my business guy, or let me get my practice guy, and then maybe we will have this conversation, or we'll let. But what is your what is that you want? What is that budget you have? When do you want to buy? That is the way the sales guys drive the conversation. And when they firstly when we tell them that you go and get your solution guy, or you get your somebody who understands what my language is, or what my problem is, somebody who understands even that, well, 80% of the time they don't even come back. 20% of the time when they come back with somebody who will be again having a very less background of what exactly we are, and we have to do it n number of times with n number of sales guys. So I have to keep repeating the same thing, and that is not my prime job. My prime job is delivering to my business. So how do I how do I find out? Either I have to create something, like I have to record something and keep it that, okay, hear this and then come and talk to me, or do this. So these are the realities. These are the realities when we discuss these things, when for 2 years we have been discussing. This is ongoing, and this is ongoing between the industry, the buyer and the vendor, and the leaders and the sales. Every summit which we are doing, everything what we are doing that at level. And based on that, this is something what we have actually seen, that these are the areas where exactly how exactly the things actually happen. Okay, so if you see this is how actually the things move. Okay, and you will see that this is where exactly the focus has to be, the capture strategy, because everything actually starts with the customer's hot buttons. If the customer was not in pain, if the customer was not was not having issues, or something driving it, motivation driving it, some pressure. Even when we say the target of the customer is aspirational, that means the customer wants to increase their market share by 15%, increase their growth by revenue growth by 30%. Do you think they are aspirational? No, they are not aspirational. They are actually being forced by their board. They are being forced by their competitor. They are being forced by their stakeholders. That next year, if you are not going to increase your revenue by 30%, well, the CEO, you are not going to get your bonus. The sales guys, you are not going to get your bonus, or you are not going to get your even the salary. The CEO is not going to get the salary. The sales guy will not get the bonus. So they are under the pressure. They may not tell you that, okay, I am doing this, because CEO will not tell you that my 60% is at stake, salary is at stake, because I am not achieving my board targets. But that's the pressure. That's a hot button for him. To us, it may look like aspirational, that yeah, they want to increase their revenue by 30% or 40%, but actually that's a hot button for them. So everything starts with a hot button. And in every competitive bid, or in every pursuit, you are not the only one. Even if there is no one, still there can be a possibility of somebody coming in, a disruptor, or somebody coming in. So there is a competitive intelligence. And everything that happens is basically because there is a value proposition. Because business is nothing but an exchange of value. So there is a value proposition. And then when there is a value proposition, for the customer to decide whose value proposition is better, and with whom to go, it is not only the value, there are other things which have to be looked into. So there is a SWOT analysis, there is customer. So this, if you see, everything here actually happens are the key things which happen in this. Okay. And in this process, where basically can generative AI work in? Okay. So if you see that these are basically the you see these are the tasks, these are the phases: the capture strategy, decision support, proposal strategy, proposal development, closure, and these are the tasks which happen. So the activities which happen under each task. Okay, and this is all. And these are basically, you can say, like where what generative AI can help, where generative AI can help. In this, during this part, it can help in strategy enablement, it can help in insights generation, it can help in process enhancement, and as well as it can help in task automation. These are the areas where generative AI can be implemented within the organizations. Okay. Now, let us see it in a different lens. So if you see those 5 areas, phases, 4 things what that can do. So if you distribute those tasks, you can see that in the augmentation, in the decision support stage, or in the capture strategy stage, generative AI, these are the tasks within that. Now in that, a part of it can be augmented, a part of it can be enhanced. Okay. So your whether it's a capture plan, whether it's your customer intelligence or that, this all can be done over here. So basically these tasks can be either there can be augmentation or enhancement in this task if you are using generative AI. If you look at the decision support, again, there can be augmentation and there can be enablement. Enablement means that not only the process, but even the people. There can be people enablement, there can be process enablement, there can be technology enablement. So enablement can happen in any of these areas. Okay. So this is where in the decision support, you can see these are the things, these are the tasks which can either be augmented or which can be enabled. In the proposal strategy, you can completely automate certain things as well as you can enhance some certain things. Okay. So you can either enhance or automate. In the proposal development, again, you can enable certain things and you can automate certain things. So this is how you can distribute the task, and you can see that what you can do. But you can see that every task can be actually either augmented, enhanced, automated, or enabled using generative AI. So this is how the implication, or this is how the influence of generative AI is on the entire pursuit management lifecycle. Okay. Is this clear to everyone? Everyone can map this and see that this is exactly what happens in your organization. Is there something different happening in your organization? I'll be interested in knowing. Anyone?
Same format only following up.
I did same one, Abhijit. So this is this mostly covers everything, you know.
So Abhijit, I have one question. So let's say many times when we are bidding for an opportunity, that opportunity is, let's say, for the Oracle Cloud opportunities, and many times we get the leads from Oracle company itself only. And once we get those leads, then our sales team needs to start working actually. So in those kind of scenarios where we don't have the control because of the Oracle and the salesperson's communications or the conversations, how a bid manager role can be creative or the valuable for that particular pursuit?
See, whether you are getting it through by yourself or you are getting it through a partner, you are one team, right? The partner also wants to win, because if the partner doesn't win, you are not. If you do not win, your partner will not be able to sell their licenses, right? So there is nothing called that you are getting it through a OEM or you are getting it through. Ultimately, it is about the pursuit. The only outcome you should be focusing on is the pursuit. And the only outcome you should be focusing on is winning the pursuit. So whether who is getting it and who is not getting it, whether I have a control, you don't have it, or he doesn't have a control, that doesn't matter.
See, because partner has multiple options like Mastech, they have other vendors as well who are, and so basically if partner wants, they are bothered with the licenses because they want to sell the licenses.
Yeah.
But in our case, let's say for Mastech, if we want to win that bid along with the partner, So what could be the R role or what could be the R differentiators as a bid manager for that particular pursuit?
See, I don't think there is. Maybe I'm not able to understand what exactly you're saying. But honestly speaking, I have worked with partners. I have worked with SAP. I have worked with FileNet. I have worked with N number IBM. I have worked with hundreds of OEMs in my life. But when I work with the OEM, when I have worked with the OEM, I have never seen. First thing is that whenever I am going to work with the OEM, I will sign up. I will make the OEM sign up that he's not going to go and work with anyone else. He is not going to give the same offer to anyone else, because if he is going to give her a favor, then I am not in a winning position. Then he is using me. I don't let my OEM use me.
At times, these are the case happen with us actually. We
So
are
unless and until I sign an exclusive deal, that this is the exclusive partnering, or else what is partnering here? Then it is not a partner. Then Oracle is not a partner if Oracle is going out with everyone else in a particular opportunity. So then your alliance partnership is not working. My alliance partnership is like, okay, if you are working, I will work with an opportunity. In that opportunity, you are not. I'm open that you go out. I can understand. There were situations where they said that, no boss, we have got other partners also, and we have to give them that also this opportunity to them also. I said, fine. But then in that case, the offer what you are giving me, you will not be giving them that offer. If you are giving me 30% off on my license fee, if I'm quoting your license in my quote, then you are going to give me 30% license, and you will not give 30% to others. You may give them 25% or whatever it is. But you will give me that advantage of that 5% margin, because if I get into the table, I can negotiate on that 5%. So these are all negotiations and strategy terms here. It totally depends on it totally depends on how you position yourself. So I will sign up that. नहीं तो मैं बोलूँगा नहीं, फिर then I am not coming with you. So the way if you are tying up with Oracle, so that is why the SIs, as a SI, I always used to keep my portfolio of, if I have Oracle on one side, I will be having SAP on the other side. I will have Microsoft on the other side, on the third. But ठीक है, तेरे साथ नहीं करना, मैं उसके साथ करता हूँ. It is a game, boss. Who has the power? Who has the power? It's totally a sales game.
Okay, that angle that I just wanted to understand. This is purely a sales angle and
yeah, it's a sales and alliance angle. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. But anyone else on the pursuit life cycle, and how are you understanding? Where is it clear that how actually a generative AI can help in over the entire pursuit life cycle?
Abhijit, one question. So, of course, generative AI, like the name suggests, helps in content generation. And I think in the course of this session, you have explained that very well. So my question is, of course, a major component of any deal is also the pricing, the commercials. So does it have any significant impact? Can it help us benchmark or, help us with any of the pricing attributes? Or is it something that that still needs to be human dependent?
No. There's a lot of pricing, a lot of price optimizations can be done. See, ultimately, what is price? See, don't look at generative AI as a content generation or a task execution or a strategy. Look at it as a information as a repository of information with a intelligence of with a reasoning capability. Okay, with a reasoning capability. Okay. Now, neither is generative AI it is basic. It's the intelligence also within generative AI is the capability of reasoning. Okay, so if I have to look at pricing, there are a lot of things which can be done on or related to pricing using generative AI. Okay, and actually it is done also. Like if you are doing a price to win analysis, first thing is that you need to know how to do a price to win. Okay, If you know how to do a price to win, you can break down those tasks of price to win in your price to win and write a prompt for doing a price to win. You can do a price, what we call as the price research. Okay, the market research pricing, like, okay, similar type of deal, what type of research. So you can use deep research for that, and you can get those pricing, what we call as the pricing insights. So you can get the pricing insights. You can even take different pricing models, and like, if you see the train of thought, the tree of thought, you can use the tree of thought prompting for different types of pricing models. You can say, okay, this is the situation. Tell me, in this situation, would a fixed price model work best, or would a rate card based model work best, or a outcome based model work best, or a transaction based model work best? What will be the outcomes of each of this if this is my pricing situation, or this is the pricing I have? The tree of thought will work out and tell you, okay, if you go by fixed based pricing, these are the constraints, these are the advantages. If you go by say outcome based pricing, these are the constraints, and these are the way you can do it. And if you go by transaction based pricing, then this is the way you can go it. Or if you go by rate card, then this is the way you do it. You need to know what you want to do. If you know what you want to do, you can scale it you can write a prompt for doing that. Got my point?
Yes, yes.
You guys, Accenture guys, you have a training program, I think, called Polaris, right?
Yeah.
Go through that, you will know how to do it. Have you done the Polaris training?
Well, yeah, so it is actually not mandatory for proposal managers. But yes, however, I have done it, so I do know the basics of how that works. So the thing with Accenture is, while it's saying it's investing 3 billion on AI and all of that, but internally the AI system that they use is not very mature. So it's a long way from ChatGPT, and so we cannot really 100% rely on the internal AI system.
That is not your business. That is not Accenture's business, right? If Accenture would automate everything and keep reliable, Accenture will not be needing all these people.
Yeah.
So Accenture, but Accenture, if it is investing 3 billion, it is also booking that much amount in generative AI also, right? So they are focusing on the industry. They are not focusing on building tools. For building tools, so the OEMs are good enough.
Right.
But I think, the tools which Accenture has, I think no one in the industry is anywhere close, other than maybe IBM and to some extent.
Yeah, you would be the better judge of it. I don't.
Because I have seen, when I say, when you talk to top 20 organizations, we see their tools, we see their technologies, we see all those things. So nobody is even closer. And they are quite way ahead. Accenture is quite way ahead in thinking. Win predictor and other things, I think they are there for last 5 years or 6 years, when the industry had not even thought about it. So anyway, so if this is clear to everyone, then I think we are nearly done. Okay. So what is the practical implementation? How do you go by it? So how do you go about it? So basically, first thing is that master the essentials, the 4 foundational patterns, what we decide before even advancing to the advanced prompts or the complex prompts, the TOCD, RTAO, those prompts, have a clear concept of it. Then choose the strategic patterns, like how do you use the strategic patterns. Okay. Start building your pattern libraries. Which patterns do you see commonly occurring? Which patterns do you start building your pattern library and prompts? I have given you in the classroom, I have uploaded most of the prompts I have used, or most of the prompts I have written. Okay. Use them. Don't simply copy them and paste them and use them. Try to see what they are, what purpose they are, and try to even build upon them, or basically even build better than them. Because the context in which I may have used will be entirely different from the context which you will be using. So build something better than that but they will give you an idea. Oh, this is where it can be used. This is where it can be used for a proposal storyboard. It can be used for a value hypothesis. It can be used for a value proposition. It can be used for a win theme. It can be used for a win strategy. And the beauty, and by now you all have realized this, that there is nothing which stops you from doing anything here. You can do anything and everything the way you want, and there is no restriction here that no, this is what, as long as you are getting what you want. Okay. And of course, there is a layer of risk. So find out how the risk can be mitigated or the risk can be modified. Okay. So this is basically how you can get started. Your assignments are already there. There is one assignment which we will be putting up today. Rest all is the other assignment. So now let me go and discuss the final assignment, right? That is what you wanted. But before that, anyone has got any other questions? Any questions on what we discussed here till now? Okay.
Abhijit, I have one question.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. So in terms of prompting, I was able to pick up most of the parts, most of the things that you mentioned. However, I have been coming across this term called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. Could you like shed some light on what it is? And
AGI is still not there. AGI, people are expecting AGI. Everybody is claiming AGI will be there in 25, 26, 27, and there are different schools of thought. Okay. AGI is artificial general intelligence. Means now general intelligence, whatever average intelligence is, it is going to be, the machines are going to be above that average intelligence. Okay. And they will be able to do, like right now we are seeing that reasoning capability, but the reasoning capability is limited. Okay.
Right.
Now, when the reasoning capability and the decision making capability, and how is the reasoning and the decision making capability happen? It happens on your average intelligence levels. Okay, on your intelligence levels. The intelligent people, they take the best, they take the best decisions, and their decisions are based on the most acceptable reasons. Okay. Now, with the enhancement of the reasoning capabilities, the decision making capabilities also will increase or will make better. The day when the systems will be able to reason and take decisions better than human beings and faster and in more areas, that day the machines will be actually behaving at least like a human being. Okay, like an average human being. Okay, but the scope will be much beyond, because the training model or the training data will be much beyond. Okay, so the capacity or the capability of the machine will be much more than that of a human being. That is what is being talked about as the artificial general intelligence, not only in one area, not only in another area, across the areas, across the domains. But then, and that is again what we call as the singularity, the moment of singularity. That is that when the machines will go beyond the human being. Okay. Now, again, there are different thoughts going on that. Maybe we do not know what is happening or what is going to happen. But yes, now there are certain there's a lot of school of thoughts on that. There's one, the Meta's AI head, Lee Ya-kun. Okay, he is a very regarded person in the AI industry. Now he is saying that LLMs are going to be over in just a few years now. Why? Because LLM's data and content is not getting updated as frequently the change is happening. Okay, what you are doing today may not be relevant even tomorrow. or somebody may be doing it in a different way and in a better way in a different place right now even. Okay, so LLM is not updating, or the data of the training data of LLM is not getting it. So instead of basing LLMs on these, instead of basing these reasoning and decision making based on the LLM's intelligence, or training the LLM only based on the content which is there on the internet, what if we can train the LLM based on the feeds which we are getting? And when I mean the feeds, it is the visuals. Okay, because today the entire world is actually going through feeds. Okay, either they are being posted by people or they are being captured by the systems. When you're moving on the road, the cameras are picking you up. When you're in an office, your cameras are picking you up. When you are when you don't want to do a post, you are posting yourself. You're posting on YouTube, you're posting on Meta, you're posting on something, wherever you're post, on X. So there are visuals which are coming. Now when you, and so what he is doing and what Meta is doing now is training the LLMs or the new models. No, they are not LLMs actually. They are going to be different model by itself. Using how things are being done and how things are contained. So if you are doing it like this, somebody else is doing like this, somebody else is doing that. Now it knows that, okay, these are the 4 ways of doing it. And it can find out which can be the better way, which is giving the best way, which is giving the best result, and all those things. Okay. So it is not going to tell you that, okay, this is the only way to do it. You will tell you, okay, you can do it. If you have time, you can do it this way. And if you do it this way, then you are going to get better quality. But if you don't have time, you can also follow this shortcut and you will get this quality. You will get this within this time, but the quality may not be as good as that one. So the learning will be happening on the fly. So when you go to sleep, LLM will be still learning. When you wake up and work, LLM will be still working. And you will be getting the real working. And LLM will be using that learning to behave. Now, with the agents, we are seeing that agents are autonomous. Agents are not waiting for you to tell what to do. Once you give them the autonomy, once you give them the power that, okay, these are your tasks, you are responsible for doing this, please go ahead and do it. Then they are autonomous. You have given them the autonomy. They are now autonomous. They will do the task how they want it to do. They will do the right task and that. So when you have an agent and when you have the learning which is continuously happening, obviously the agent will be working for a human being. As a human being sitting in India, in Pune, in one room, and the LLM which is looking into the entire world and getting the feed of the entire world and learning, do you think I will be able to compete with LLM? So this is how things are going to happen. Things are happening.
Got it.
So AGI is still to come, but yes, it is there. It is on. Everybody is. Google is picking up, OpenAI's people, Meta is picking up somebody else's people. Everybody is targeting AGI. Who wants to be there first? That's a race going on. And we are still struggling with prompts.
Thanks, Abhijit. This is helpful.
Okay. So where were we? Okay. So explaining you all the. Okay. Now, what is this assignment all about? Very simple. All related to your work and what you have learned here. Okay. So you are a senior proposal operations consultant. Basically, you manage the proposals, you write the proposals. You have got here. So you write the proposals over here. And you have been you're a consultant for this company called Meridian Strategic Partners. And the company has the problem of the company is that they are seeing a declining win rates, and increasing proposal development cost, and competitors are winning with faster response time and more compelling position. So you have been asked as the to make a generative AI transformation initiative within your organization to optimize the entire bid and proposal lifecycle. And your goal is to increase the productivity efficiency, reduce the RFP response cycle time, and improve the proposal quality to achieve a target win rate of 40% within 12 months. Okay. And what is your deliverable? It's a strategic report for the executive management with actionable recommendations supported by GenAI implementation strategies and using the prompt engineering techniques. Okay. So what do you need to do here? First thing is that you need to understand what are the processes. So you know the process because this is something which you are doing day in, day out, right? So you need to do the process analysis and the task identification. So you need to find out the task within each phase. You saw which are the tasks over there. The phases here you can see the opportunity identification phase, strategy planning, solution development, proposal delivery, your phases. And for each phase, you have to identify the 3 or 4 key tasks which are happening within this phase. Provide the brief description, the primary and the secondary roles, the expected outputs and the deliverables, and the quality metrics and for measuring the task, and of course the optimum time frames. That for a average size of RFP, this is the time frame. For a large RFP, this is the time of RFP response time, like that. Okay, whatever you can see. So basically, first is the task identification. Then that's the first task. Okay, the second area is that now take each task and identify what are the pain areas, what are the issues, what are the hot buttons within that. Okay, so you see, lead the operational constraint, bottlenecks, inefficiencies. Then you need to categorize them as high, medium, and low. Okay, and high, medium, and low is basically the frequency. Okay, and then the interdependency between these constraints. That unless and until this constraint is removed, this constraint will not go. Okay, we will not be able to resolve this constraint. Okay, and there you do the root cause analysis. That okay, why is this problem happening? What are the underlying causes? What are the symptoms here? What are the causes? And then what is the casual, what we call as the causality? Like because of this reason, because of this is happening, and this is the symptom for this. Okay. Since we do not get a right briefing from the sales, we struggle to build a win strategy, and because we don't have a strong win strategy, we lose our proposal win themes are not getting created. We are not able to align our value with the customer's value, or find out what are the, we do not have any insights of the competitor. Because of that, we are not able to showcase our strengths compared to the competitors. Okay, so the causality, and of course the business impact. Because of that, we are losing bids. We are losing even though we are priced lower, we are losing to our competition, and whatever the business impacts are. And what is the preliminary identification solution? The preliminary solution identification has to be always a non-AI. Always find that what can be a non-AI solution, and then look at it and say that okay, if this is a non-AI solution I can have, and that solution can be a people solution, it can be a process solution, it can be a technology solution. Not solution doesn't mean that RFP.io or Loop.io or something like that. It can be tweaking a process, it can be training a person, it can be changing the location, it can be anything. Okay, and then based on that, you are to create a solution design, and that solution design is a generative AI solution. So you will create a generative AI solution with a solution architecture. Okay, what are the capabilities of generative AI, and to the identification to the identified constraints. Then again, what can be the solution approach, how you can take it forward from here. Do that, and of course then identify 3 different pursuit lifecycle tasks, and for each pursuit lifecycle task, find out which are the prompt categories you can use to either augment, automate, enhance. So you can do that. Okay. And then for each selected task, provide a object, context and object. Okay, why do you think that this task, if it is solved and problem, may actually create a bigger impact? So you have to select the task based on the impact of it, and the impact has to be the business impact, not a process impact. Okay. And the prompt design, and then maybe what is the implementation strategy, whether you will do it in the first or when do you want to do it, how do you want to do it, you can look into it. And then finally, the final deliverable is basically your executive summary and a strategic recommendation report. Okay. So your recommendation report basically a structured business analysis document, maximum 6 to 8 pages. A technical prompt engineering specifications, like again 2-3 pages on how what type of prompts you will be using, what kind of prompt patterns you will be using. Executive summary giving a overall overview of it. That's it, maximum. So total length 16 to 20 pages. Okay, you need to generate, and whatever you can support it with graphs, details, and anything. So, and this is basically the philosophy. Like, first is your conceptual understanding, then your practical skills, what you have learned in using ready prompts for business scenarios, then your judgment, like which prompt to be used, and of course the integration, like how do you put everything together, not just one prompt at a time, one, two, three prompts, no ad hoc prompting, rather prompting as a solution. That is basically the purpose. That's what we are going to look at. Clear, everyone? Simple?
Yes, sir. When is this due?
Next Sunday.
Okay.
And we have to
In
submit
classroom, it shows that it is tomorrow, but
No.
we'll get a week.
Well, that was for the other assignment. So we the assignment which will be posted today will be for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Understood.
This will have 1 week to do.
So the final deliverable has to be in Word document?
Yeah, Word document.
Got it.
But do it sincerely. I can promise you that you will be, that your concepts of generative AI and AI will be very clear, and moving to the agentic AI will be much easier. Those of you who are part of the future leader task group, when we talk about the agentic AI, you will be, because agentic because that classroom is a flipped classroom model. So in that you have to do the self-learning. Then I will not be sitting there and explaining you point by point. You have to read, you have to understand. If you have doubts, you can come back and ask a question. Okay. So that's not going to be online training. That's a flipped classroom model. But you will have only one master class or maybe 2 master classes on that. Okay. So there you have to be prepared that yes, this is exactly what we did, and that is why we are doing this program live, so that you know one by one, you know it, what exactly how to approach these things. Okay. And doing this exercise will actually clear your path for that. Then you will be thinking like implementing a solution using generative AI. And everything was totally to, of course, to learn how to write a prompt or what the different prompt engineering, but more is to build your thinking capability and challenging the status quo. Don't, just because somebody says so, don't go by that. Think what is important, what is important in that context. Anything and everything. See, this is somebody who told me so up on my face when I was talking to him about something like industry best practices, and he said it very on my face. And he's a very respected industry leader. Like I think I will take at least 30 more years in the industry to reach his level of thinking. And he told me one simple thing on my face, that Abhijit, best practices are for novices. Those who don't know what to do, they are being told, hey, listen, this is the best practice. If you follow this, you will not fail. But the winners and the leaders, they never they never follow the best practices. They create the next practices, which become later when they find when everybody in the industry finds them working, they make it the best practices. So your competitor, your competitor's neighbor, and everyone else are following the best practice. So that does not differentiate you. If you need to differentiate yourself, if you need to distinguish yourself, you have to write the next practices. You have to create the next practices. So don't fall in the trap of or the trash of best practices. And that actually changed my outlook also. And from that day, I gave away my titles. I stopped writing CPP, CP, and all those CAP in my name. Do you agree? It's a very profound thing, but if you think about it, you will understand it. Okay, I can stop recording and I can, or